All Hallows Eve. Join us for a spook-filled night as we celebrate our 4th anniversary of the UnXplained Network. Your friends at the X will share some of their scariest moments and send chills right up your spine. Visit UnXnetwork.com to listen or join us on YouTube and share your scary story in the chat. All of this from your friends at the UnXplained Network. We'll see you there if you dare.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Margie K, and you are listening to or watching our annual Halloween special, which is also the anniversary of the X. And with me, of course, is Mr. Race Hobbs. Welcome, Race.
Happy Halloween, Margie.
Yes, indeed. And you say that the best. You have your scary voice on.
Well, I just have to do that every once in a while.
Yes.
But
yes, you do.
I will say, here we are, Margie, quite a ways down the road with the UnXplained Network. Another birthday has come upon us.
Can't believe it's been 4 years.
It seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
And then,
of course, you and I have been working longer than that, working together longer than that, and also doing our own thing longer than that. But it's still, time flies when you're having fun, right?
We have a first of all, I wanted to run over on the audio side and say, give a shout out to everybody on the audio side this Halloween night. We've got so many listeners, not only here in the States, but in Canada, in Australia, in Great Britain, and UK, around the world. It's good to have you all at the network, supporting the network. We appreciate you, all of you, for the time that you spend with us, and we hope you're ready for another year, because Margie and I are ready to bring it. We've got a lot of good surprises coming up, and some new things are happening, and we're really excited about it. And so stay tuned and hold on tight, I would say.
Yeah.
Because our journeys into the unknown really are just getting started. And we are here with a space for you to come to, hang out, and communicate with and touch with, I tell you, Margie, the how we're going to open up this station for 2026 a little bit is going to be really interesting. And I think it's going to be well received by the audience. And I really hope so. Anyway, we've got some big plans.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I got to say though, Margie, we've always been full of ideas, since day one. You know what I mean?
The problem is having money to follow it through with is the thing.
That's a big part of why I'm such a fan of those people that sluice out folks who hustle money from folks in UFOs and paranormal and shit like that. I'm such a big fan. I want to thank all of you for being there and, bird dogging and watching out, keeping the paranormal honest, if you will. But for a lot of us who have been doing this for a long time, we couldn't do it without making money from it. If you just want to be perfectly clear, the best people that are doing the best research out there are getting financed by people we don't know and never will know. And then there's the civilian, and then they're being financed by Patreon and memberships and working their butts off, creating content, hustling down information and sluicing out cases and investigations and boots on the ground field work. And we just do the best we can at our age, Margie, to just grab their tails and hold on. You know what I mean? And you're one of them. I mean, like, I have slowed way down in the last 15 years, way down. and you're still getting out there, you're still doing the legwork, and you're still doing the late nights, and you work in multiple organizations, and you hold down a full-time job, and then you've got your own company and business, experiences that you've got going. I don't know how you do it. I really, really don't, but I am so glad that you are gifted to have the fire that you have, to keep that passion going, and your desire for discovery and for the truth has been an inspiration to me. And I've had a tough year. A lot of you have tough times that come upon you, and it's been one of those for me this year. But with my good friends and my family behind me, I've been able to get through it, and I'm feeling a lot better this time of the year. Looking forward, I'm just looking forward to what we can do in the next calendar year. We make these great leaps, and some things, Margie, we take a couple of steps forward, a couple of steps back. Sometimes we take a lot of steps forward and we gain that ground. Sometimes we don't. So it's been a real trial and error for us, and I think we've done a good job. We have a great listener base, and we have a great expanded great value in listenership abroad. So we've really done well for 4 years, in my opinion. And I think that
I think so.
I think that it's a tribute to your talent and your tenacity and your ability to recognize really good talent, because some of the shows that are still on this network 4 years later are the ones you picked. So,
well, hey,
thank you.
I've got to give you kudos, Grace, for all the work that you've done the past 4 years, and actually prior to when we opened. We were working several months prior to get things ready to go, and you chose your choice of shows has been wonderful. There have been no mistakes as far as choosing the shows that should be on our network. So I really appreciate you and all the work that you've done. And I know you've had a bad year this year health-wise, but you're back in the saddle, and I'm glad you're there because this network couldn't run without you.
Thank you, Margie. I appreciate that. And it brings me to a couple of our hosts this year have had a rough go. A lot of you have been DMing me and reaching out to the network about our great friend Bridget from Great Britain, and she's been going through some health issues and some other things, and she's coming back. I want everyone to know that she is coming back. She's been off the air for a little over a month and a half, and but she will be coming back, and everyone keep her in their thoughts and good wishes, because she could use them right now. But she's a stout one, just like all the rest of us. She is a go-getter, and we love you, B, and we can't wait till you get back here with us.
We're saving your spot, B.
Yes, Margie she has been questioning, and wanting to know if I'd heard. Have you heard from her? I wonder how she's doing. Should I remote view her? So, but we have a wonderful family here, and we're adding to it. As a matter of fact,
we are.
We've had some shows that have had to wind down, and they've closed down. Matter of fact, I just got a call, a personal phone call last night from Alan B. Smith, who is putting Coffees and UFOs on hiatus. And I totally understand why, folks. Life is a happening, as they say, and he's got some stuff going on with his home. He's having to do some pretty extensive repairs and stuff, all the while working, 60, 70 hours a week and commuting and the whole bit. And his time is really getting choked, and he does not want to sacrifice quality for quantity and or anything like that. He wants to be able to put it into the work, put in the work to the product to, deliver to you to be worthy and of a value. And he's not, in my terms, not Margie's, he doesn't want to half-ass it. And I'm 100% with him on that. And every one of us can understand that. But the great news is he left it open-ended. He said, I'm not saying I'm not going to be back in 4 or 5 months. I'm not saying, that I'm not going to get through this patch and then, have that fire come back to him. And so we wish Alan well. He is one of the dearest friends that I have since I've been doing all this. And he's one of the ones, if I'm out of this business or he's out of this business, we'll still be in touch. And so everybody reach out to Alan. If you're a fan of his work, you enjoy what he did with Coffees, UFOs, and Mystic Lounge and the years back, give him a shout, man, and wish him well, because he could use it too.
Yeah, I think he has a good show.
Margie and I are going to be, Margie, sorry to interrupt you, but we're going to be doing a lot more reminding everybody, that we need to tolerate each other a little better and look out for each other, love each other a little more, and letting each other know how much each other means to us. I think that's important. And like Margie, I just told her, here day before yesterday, I was like, you're like my best friend. You know what I mean? If I didn't have, because sometimes I'll call her up and she's got her stuff going, her mountain of work going, and I'll just start venting my thing, and it's great to have good friends. It really is. And not, let alone, get to hang out with them every day, and do what you can to help get the ball down the field. And
well, it's important to have friends and support. That's how we all get through life.
It is 100%. But it is Halloween, and this is our month, the conclusion of the spooky month of the year. But Margie, I think it would be a great time to just go ahead and let everybody know that, how we're changing the UnX to the unexplained, just that little bit. And we don't want to go too far, but just let them all know we're in the future from here forward. I think we're going to be the Unexplained Network, because people had a little trouble with UnX up until this.
They did, even though we completely understand it, not everybody does. Yeah. And they were calling it Unix and, asking, what does that mean? And so we changed it to the Unexplained Network, but UnXplained, there's no E in there. And so you may have noticed we changed the YouTube channel name, changed the Facebook group name. And by the way, the Facebook page is stagnant because Facebook took my personal page down with all my 6,000 followers gone. And that page runs everything else. And so unfortunately, I made the mistake of not putting a second admin on my personal page. And so I don't have access to the page for the UnX Network either, the old UnX Network. So just go to the UnX Network group or the Unexplained Network group and join us there if you want to keep up with what's going on here at the X. We're not going to have a regular page anymore, but we've got a guest in the queue ready to go, and I think we might as well go ahead and bring him in. Paul Dale Roberts, aka the Demon Warrior, is a 14 investigator who investigates all things paranormal from ghosts to demons to cryptids to UFOs. Roberts has investigated paranormal hotspots like Area 51, Skinwalker, Stonehenge, etc., etc. There's too many to list. He's done everything. Let's just put it that way, including investigating serial killer victim sites. He's also a journalist for the UnX News magazine, Phenomenon magazine, Outer Limits, and more. And I'm going to bring Paul Dale on right now. Welcome, Paul.
Hey, what's up there, Margie and Race?
So
How you
good to
doing,
see
Paul?
you.
Hey, not too bad, not too bad. Happy Halloween.
Happy
And,
Halloween.
and you're
Happy
right,
Halloween.
I am the Demon Warrior.
Oh, there we go. The Demon Warrior. Yes. Well, we're all about spooky, scary stuff tonight. So please tell us a scary story.
Ooh, man, I got some. Um,
Okay.
do you want a scary ghost story or a scary demon story?
Oh, gosh. Could we have both?
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay, I'll start off with the ghost story first. Okay, when I was a brand new paranormal investigator, I had about 15 scouts, and these scouts are paranormal investigators in training. We had a investigation at a house in Citrus Heights, and um, the people that were living there, they were seeing ghosts going up and down their stairwell, a man and a woman, a little child. And so they wanted us to investigate. So what I did was I put five scouts in one room, five scouts in another room, five scouts in another room. And I was going to leave them there for about an hour. And I went into the first room. The investigators are about ready to fall asleep. Nothing was happening. Went to the other room. Again, they're bored and nothing was happening. I go into the other room and I hear a little girl giggling. Mind you, there was no little girl around us. And I said, oh my God, she's sitting on the corner of this bed. I can't see her, but the giggle is coming from there. I said, can you guys hear it? And they said, yeah, we're recording it. I said, okay, let me put my head down there. And I go, hello. And the little girl's voice said, hello. I go, holy, I can't say it. I said, okay, that's it. Get everybody in this room. So we got all 15 scouts in the room. We're doing like a little seance.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're asking this little girl to go ahead and talk again, the walls sounded like they were ripping apart. It sounded like something like the Cenobites in Hellraiser, where they're coming through the walls. And everybody's like totally freaked out. There's banging on the walls. The walls sound like they're ripping apart. And all 15 scouts are running out the door. And I said, man, you guys got to get back here. This is a breakthrough. This is because right when I started as a paranormal investigator, I was starting to believe there's no afterlife. I mean, sure, I heard the EVPs. It could be coming from another room, some other person's voice. I wasn't believing it. But this house made me a believer. So I got all 15 scouts back in there. We're doing like a little seance. We have 3 walkie-talkies on the floor. They're all on the same channel. And then one walkie-talkie turns on. It's a man's deep voice, and he's saying, get out. All 15 scouts again, they're running out the door. And then the occupant comes up to me and she goes, Paul, she goes, I have to live here. She goes, can you just send them home? I go, okay, I will. She goes, you know what? You're welcome to stay in that room tonight. I go, really? Whoa, okay, that sounds exciting. So anyway, I sent everybody home. And out of those 15 investigators, only 2 stayed as paranormal investigators. All the rest, they said, heck no, that's too scary. So anyway, I slept there. They had the video camera rolling, and you can hear a female's voice go, Paul, Paul, Paul. And then you heard a little child moaning at the foot of the bed. And you heard a man's voice mumbling, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what he was saying. And a little tapping on the headboard. And guess what? I slept through the whole thing.
No.
Yeah. I was Yeah, I was knocked out. And they had this on video and everything else. And they got real possessive of it. It's like, you're going to get it copyrighted, you're going to be famous, whatever. They wouldn't allow me to have the video. But till this day,
Oh,
till this day, her name's Angel Kesty, and she still has that video. And she's not turning it loose. And that
oh
was
boy, that would be a good one to see. Oh my goodness.
my scary ghost story.
Oh,
Now here's my scary demon story.
all right.
Oh, this one gives me the creeps. Okay, even though I'm the demon warrior, this one gives me the creeps. Again, this happened when I was a new paranormal investigator. And I had what's called paranormal hotline. So I was getting phone calls all over the place. You know, our house is haunted, blah, blah, blah. There's a ghost in the broom closet, blah, blah, blah. So on this one night, I was in this area of Lodi. And I get a phone call, a paranormal hotline call. And it was a lady. She says, I live in Stockton. We have a demon that manifests in the hallway, and it looks like a black cloud, or it looks like black fog.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes around about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. We would like you to investigate. Well, I said, well, I'm in Lodi right now. And they said, well, we're in Stockton. I said, well, that's not very far. I said, I can come on by. And that's when I was really, really gung-ho as a paranormal investigator. I just wanted to do this one and do that one. And so I said, okay, I'm going to be at your house. We're going to do this. So I get to the place, and the woman that answers the door, she's a senior. She looked like a very nice grandmother type. She lived in that house with her 30-something-year-old goddaughter. So anyway, I start interviewing her. I have my laptop. And I said, okay, how long has this been going on? They said, oh, it's been going on for about a year now. They said that the demon actually attacks us. I said, how? They said, we have bite marks. And they showed me bite marks on their shoulder and neck area.
Oh.
Well, I'm sitting there and going, I wonder if they're doing that to themselves. You know, I mean, I hate to think that, but here I was, the big skeptic at the time. And so I still am doing my interview with her. And then I noticed that her face started distorting from this nice grandmother type. Now to me, she looked evil.
Oh.
I didn't know if it was my imagination or what. I just thought it was really odd. And then she was telling me that she has visions. And I said, what are the visions? And she was very deadpan, and she looks at me and she goes, killing men.
Oh.
I said, what? Mind you, I was the only man in the house. And my heart is racing. And then
I'll bet.
I said, how do you see yourself killing men? She goes, by taking a baseball bat and bashing their heads. I go, oh my God. And then I'm typing away. And then I tell her, I probably need to get this information over to these people. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be interested in come over here and doing a documentary, because she was all into documentaries too. And she goes, well, I don't know. Well, then I look towards the living room, and her goddaughter is holding a baseball bat. She's going around and around in circles with the baseball bat with this maniacal type smile on her face. I go,
Oh,
holy, I need to get out of here. This is what I'm thinking. So I told her, I said, oh, this is going to be so big. I mean, oh my God, Ghost Adventures will probably be over here and everything else. She goes, you think so? Zach will be here? Yeah, Zach will probably be over here. And I said, I need to take this information over there. I said, I just live down the street. I'll be right back. And they go, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure. And so I'm running out of there with a laptop. And I'm so scared, I left my cell phone in the house.
oh dear.
And I didn't want it back. It was too much. One thing, I did get out of there, okay? Didn't go back because they scared the heck out of me. I learned to bring other paranormal investigators with me. There's no way in hell am I ever going to a place by myself. And I'm going to tell you right now, Margie and Race, I'm not afraid of ghosts, not afraid of demons, but I'm damn sure afraid of a 30-year-old something woman with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Wow.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Seen one or two in my day.
Oh, my God.
It sounds like they were both possessed.
Oh, man, they were. I actually believe that they were possessed. And at some point in time, I communicated with them over telephone, told them how they could self-bless their house and stuff like that. But no way did I ever desire going back to that house.
No, I don't blame you, and that's a heck of a story. Wow.
The only way I'm going to go to that house is only if I could bring Margie and Race with me.
Yeah, no.
Well, I can tell you this.
I'll say no.
I've got a lot of friends that are, paranormal investigators, ghost hunters, whatever you want to call it. They had tried to get me to do it. And Paul, just to be honest with you, if I can't put a shotgun shell through it, I'm really not. You know what I mean?
He's not into it.
I have seen them. I have seen full body apparitions, 3 of them together.
Oh, yeah, okay, check this out too, Race. I've been on 2,500 investigations, and I've seen only 4 full body apparitions. Only 4. That's a rarity.
They are rare.
These were in a street. They were literally walking down the street in front of my parents' home at night. And my dad had just had, it was a pretty lengthy street, and there was street lights at each end of the street, but there was none in the middle. It was dark. And this, our neighborhood was built through a pecan grove. And so it was just engulfed really with pecan trees everywhere. And these are big, dark, leafy. At night, it gets quite dark in there. And so he had them install a street light right at the end of his driveway out there where it met the street. And I was back pipe fitter and a welder, and I had been in Michigan, and I had come back from a job, and I was staying with my parents for a couple of weeks until my house was ready. And I was sitting on the porch smoking a cigarette, and I just saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I looked because I was looking downhill. The driveway was probably about 45 feet from me, and it went downhill out to the road. And that light was out there from where I was, probably maybe 25 degrees pitch. And I sat there and focused my eyes in. And the more I did, the closer it got. And it was like a silver lining around a tall man, and then someone a little smaller to the other side of him, and someone a lot smaller on this side of him. Like a young child, maybe 8-10 years old.
Wow.
I could perfectly see. I couldn't see their feet. I couldn't see legs or feet or anything, but I seen the perfect outline of them as they passed under that light. And as they got farther away from that light, they just slowly vanished, slowly disappeared.
Mm.
But it was a calm, kind of a serene thing. I think that I went through the half of that pack of that cigarettes before I went in the house. So just sitting there, Paul, trying to figure out what I just saw and if it's what I saw. But it was very timely because I had time to look at my cigarette and wonder if there was something in it. I had time to look back and look off and look back and think about it and shake my head, kind of a thing. It wasn't like a glimpse or some kind of quick thing. And I thought, is this what I'm seeing? Make sure you see what, and you know how you can put your hands like in little circles and like raise your eyebrows up to kind of cancel out any extra light and kind of focus in on something at a distance. I did it, and you could see it. It was not even hard to see. It was that clearly defined of a thing. And another time I saw a shadow move across a room, and I was with my stepson, and he saw it too. And we were walking, we saw it go in front of us, and we both jumped back like we were attached. We both reacted to it and jumped back and then ran back down the hallway, because this room that it crossed had a big window on this wall. It was a corner room. There was a window on this wall, and there was another smaller window over here. And they all had the blinds removed and the curtains removed. And it was just pure outside sunlight coming into this room. And whatever passed from right to left, as he opened the door, he took a step and a half in, I took a step in, and then it went across the room and it darkened the whole room out. I mean, it wasn't pitch black, but it shaded the whole room. It was not in the shape of a human being or a humanoid looking. It was just like a veil that went across us. And there's no way you're going to tint all three windows like that without us seeing it. Something would have had to go through and block that light out of those windows.
Right.
To dampen direct light that much. That was another time that, those two times I can't explain. There was another time where I was in my bed in my master bedroom. My wife and I were going to sleep, and I swear I saw a man in a fedora walk right through my bathroom and right through a wall into what would be the pantry on the other side. But I was going to bed, and I remember waking up thinking about it, thinking, I could have been dreamt it, and I just, whatever I'm trying to do to rationalize it, I just have never, the spirit world, or whatever you want to call it, the other side, it's just, it does kind of spook me a little deeper than sort of maybe the shock terror that you would feel with your face in the face of a intelligent creature from somewhere else, a life form from somewhere else.
Is that your dog, Paul?
Yeah, the dogs are barking at the trick-or-treaters, so I think I need to turn on my water sprinkler.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, thank you for sharing with us tonight. We appreciate it. And good luck with your future investigations. If you ever run across anything that bad again, let me know.
Hey, one day you should have me on where I talk about some of those serial killer sites.
I do want to have you come on to do that. We'll do a whole full hour on my show, so we'll definitely have you back.
Paul, it's always time well spent hanging out with you, man. Thanks for coming on Halloween, brother.
Hey, happy Halloween. Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you, Paul.
See you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, he is a prolific writer too. I should have
Man,
mentioned
look,
that
that
earlier.
is terrifying. Just that last story.
Ooh, yeah. I
That's
don't like that.
That's
Yeah,
the kind I can come quick.
I've got a lot of experience removing negative energies or pesky spirits. Some really bad things too. But when it comes to biting demons, I just don't like to deal with that. So I'll send that on to somebody else, a demonologist like Michelle Roos, somebody like that really knows what they're doing and they don't mind dealing with it. We'll just go ahead and let somebody else handle it. I think what we should do right now is take a short break. All right, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes, folks.
The UnXplained Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the UnXplained Network website at unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com.
And we're back with the annual Unexplained Network. I got to get used to saying that. Holiday and anniversary special. This is our 4th anniversary. And Race mentioned something a little bit earlier, and I do want to talk about something that I have had experience with, and I know a lot of people question, and other people have had experiences with, and that is shadow people. So I'm going to read a little bit about shadow people, and then I would like, if you have had experiences with them, go ahead and post that in the chat. And what Race was talking about a minute ago might have been a shadow person that went across in their hallway and in that room. But anyway, in the realm of the unexplained, few phenomena are as intriguing and unsettling as shadow people. These dark, shadowy entities have captured the imagination of many, often leaving those who encounter them with more questions than answers. As we delve into the mysterious world of shadow people, we'll explore their characteristics, the theories behind their existence, and how different cultures interpret these enigmatic figures. Shadow people sightings are not new. For centuries, tales of these elusive figures have been reported across various cultures. Although descriptions may vary, the common theme involves a dark, human-like silhouette that seems to possess an otherworldly presence. These figures are typically seen out of the corner of one's eye, only to vanish when directly observed. This fleeting nature adds to the mystique and the fear they inspire. As we embark on this exploration, it's essential to understand the psychological and cultural dimensions that influence our perceptions of shadow people. By examining the common characteristics and theories surrounding these entities, we can begin to unravel the mystery. Shadow people are often described as dark, shadowy figures that resemble human shapes. They are typically perceived as fleeting apparitions that are difficult to observe directly. Many who encounter these entities report feelings of fear or dread, which can linger long after the sighting. These experiences have led to various interpretations. One of the most intriguing aspects of shadow people is their ability to evoke strong emotional responses. This has led some researchers to suggest that these encounters may be linked to certain states of consciousness, such as sleep paralysis or heightened anxiety. In these states, the mind may be more susceptible to interpreting shadows or movement as threatening entities. Despite the varied reports, certain characteristics of shadow people are consistently noted. These entities are typically described as having a humanoid shape, often without distinct facial features. They're usually seen in peripheral vision, and then vanish when directly looked at. A common feature reported in many encounters is the presence of red eyes. These glowing eyes, often described as piercing or malevolent, add to the fear associated with these entities. The red eyes seem to suggest an intelligence or awareness, setting them apart from mere shadows or tricks of light. Another characteristic is their movement. Shadow people are often seen darting quickly across the room or standing motionless, watching the observer. Their ability to move rapidly or appear in different locations within a short time frame adds to their otherworldly auras. These attributes make shadow people a subject of fascination and fear. And there are several theories about what and who they are. One popular theory suggests that these entities are manifestations of our subconscious fears. In states of altered consciousness, such as during sleep paralysis, our minds may project these fears into our environment, creating the illusion of shadowy figures. Another theory posits that shadow people are interdimensional beings, and that is what I believe. Proponents of this idea suggest that these entities exist in a parallel dimension and occasionally cross into our reality. And some believe that shadow people are spirits or ghosts. This theory is rooted in the belief that these entities are connected to the afterlife, either as lost souls or as malevolent spirits. The connection between shadow people and the paranormal is a topic of much debate. For many, these entities are seen as proof of the supernatural, existing beyond the reach of scientific explanation. Paranormal researchers often classify shadow people as a type of ghost or spirit, though their distinct characteristics set them apart from traditional ghost sightings. In the paranormal community, shadow people are often associated with negative energy. This belief is supported by the fear and unease commonly reported during encounters. Some suggest that these entities feed off negative emotions, intensifying their presence in environments where such emotions are prevalent, and I agree with that. This association with negativity has led to the belief that shadow people may be malevolent in nature. Many individuals have reported personal encounters with shadow people, each adding to the complex tapestry of this phenomenon. These first-hand accounts often share common elements, such as the sudden appearance of a dark figure and an overwhelming sense of fear or dread. One common theme in these encounters is the inability to move or speak, often described during episodes of sleep paralysis. In this state, individuals are conscious but unable to move, sometimes witnessing shadowy figures looming over them. This has led to the theory that shadow people are a psychological manifestation experienced during these episodes. Despite the fear associated with these encounters, some individuals report neutral or even positive interactions with shadow people. These accounts suggest that not all shadow entities are malevolent, challenging the typical narrative and opening the door for different interpretations. The presence of red eyes in shadow people sightings is a particularly striking feature that captivates the imagination. These glowing eyes are often described as the most vivid aspect of an encounter, leaving a lasting impression on those who witness them. The significance of red eyes varies, but they are frequently associated with danger or malevolence. They are also often linked to evil or demonic entities. The cultural association may influence how people interpret their encounters with shadow people, reinforcing the idea that these entities are malevolent. The red eyes add an element of intelligence or awareness, suggesting that shadow people are not mere illusions, but rather conscious beings. However, not all reports of red-eyed shadow people indicate a negative experience. Some individuals describe a sense of curiosity rather than fear, suggesting that the red eyes may serve as a means of communication or way to establish presence. Shadow people are not confined to a single culture or religion. Across the world, different societies have their interpretations of these mysterious figures. In many cultures, shadow people are seen as omens or harbingers of misfortune, while others view them as protective spirits or guardians. In Western cultures, shadow people are often associated with ghost stories and urban legends, frequently depicted as malevolent entities. This perception is influenced by media and literature, which portray shadowy figures as sinister or evil. However, indigenous cultures interpret shadow entities as spiritual beings or ancestors offering guidance or warnings. And in Eastern philosophies found in Buddhism and Hinduism, they interpret shadow people as manifestations of inner fears or spiritual challenges. So I thought I would mention about how to protect yourself from dark entities. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you about an incident that happened to my granddaughter. And this was several years ago. She was asleep in her bed, and suddenly she heard the TV come on in her room. And the TV did not show any show on it. It was just static. And standing in front of it was a shadow man who was all black, and he was staring at the television, and she didn't move. She just watched him. And then he turned and looked directly at her as if he knew she was awake. And then he turned and looked back at the TV and then dissolved into thin air. And she told her mother that the next day. And of course, I found out about it. And they were asking me, what is it? And of course, I said, my belief that they're interdimensional entities of some sort that we really don't understand and don't communicate with. Because other than looking straight at my granddaughter in the eyes, and other people have said the same thing, other than purposely scaring some people and standing over their bed at night staring at them, or acting in a malevolent manner, they don't speak, they don't send any telepathic messages, and we just don't have a clue. This is one of those things that paranormal investigators just don't have a solid answer for. So I thought I would give you a few ideas for protecting yourself from dark energies. You want to maintain a positive environment. Keeping your living space filled with positive energy is considered one of the most effective ways to deter negative entities, and it is. This can be achieved through regular cleaning, decluttering, and incorporating elements that promote peace and tranquility, such as plants or calming scents or incense. Use protective symbols and rituals. Many cultures employ protective symbols such as crosses, talismans, or dream catchers to ward off dark entities. I use a dream catcher. Rituals such as smudging with sage or lighting candles can also help purify the space and create a barrier against unwanted presences. If you believe that you have a dark presence in your house, the first thing I suggest is opening a window or a door and sage the entire house, every room, smudging the area with sage, while you are saying something in a calm but firm manner that any dark energies or entities in that space are not welcome and they need to leave. And then end up at the open window or door and then close it. That usually takes care of the problem. Okay. So if you have had an encounter with a shadow person or just a shadow, just a blob of black darkness That has happened to me too. If that has appeared to you, we want to hear about it. So send us an email. You can send me an email to kunxradio@gmail.com, and we will consider that for publication, or you can post it in the chat. And Race, I'm just wondering, that shadow that you saw in your house, if you think that might have been a shadow person.
Well, I know for sure that it wasn't shaped like a humanoid. I know for sure of that, because that doorway and that room, the shape of that room, the size of the door, the way that it moved across, it was more like a veil, like a curtain, but it did have more of a solid center. It was, as it came in, it faded in very quickly to a thick, dark color, and then faded out to a less dark color till it was back to normal. And, I have seen video footage that I would count as real footage as it gets, that were perfectly shaped. I mean, you could see the head, the neck, and that. But I did not get like a sinister feeling from it or anything. It just startled us. And we, like I said, we just moved like a car was coming, or something like that kind of reaction. But it wasn't sinister. It didn't put off a terrible vibe or anything, but it was 100% something crossing that room, that space right there, just feet in front of us.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get a negative feeling emanating from it. I did have an issue with a big giant blob one time. That's what I'm going to call it. In Salem, Massachusetts. I was there with my best friend and my daughter Maria. And we took the tour. We took the haunted tour. It was done by a company called Mass Hysteria, MASS Hysteria, and was also done in a hearse that had been converted. So it was very interesting, lots of fun. Several things happened that night, but this particular time we were taken to the old jail. And this jail was stone. It was extremely old, and there was a big fence around it. We're standing in front of the fence while the tour guide is standing with her back to the jail, facing us and telling us the story of this place, which was that there were horrible living conditions. They had no heat. They had no cooling. They had no regular restrooms. It was just deplorable conditions for the people living there. And that a lot of people sensed and had experiences there that were very bad, and they had closed it. So the jail was closed at the time. And while she's talking and telling us this story, I saw this dark, like cloud, come out of the side of the jail, head out to the side a little ways, hit the fence on the left side, and then come back in and head towards us. And so I pointed at it. Everybody there saw it, and we're all looking at it and pointing at it. And as it's coming towards us, it's getting bigger and bigger to the point where this thing was probably 30 feet wide. And we start backing up, and the tour guide is, what's going on? What's going on? And she turns around and looks, she goes, oh, we're done here. And so she takes off and says, follow me, follow me. We all ran away. Luckily, the thing stopped at the gate. It did not cross the gate and chase us down the road. Thank goodness. It didn't.
Some kind of boundary, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I think so. But it looks like we've got Derek online here. Of course.
Let's bring Derek in.
Yeah, let's get Derek in here. Let's get Derek. How you doing tonight, Derek?
Hey guys, I'm good. How are you?
Happy
I
Halloween,
am
Derek.
good.
Yes, happy Halloween to you too.
And Derek, of course, is the co-founder of Iron City Paranormal, and you are a paranormal investigator. And who else do we have here? We got Dan, got one of your cohorts with us. Hi, Dan.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Really good. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
Is it just going to be the two of you this evening?
I do believe so, yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about Iron City Paranormal. How did you get started and what do you do?
Yeah, so
That's
so
all
Iron
you,
City.
Dan. That's your favorite part.
Yeah, no worries. So Iron City Paranormal started. We started for Derek's bachelor party almost 10 years ago. Went out ghost hunting instead of doing things you do on bachelor parties. It started as something fun to do, and it kind of became something that we're very passionate about, right? So of course we started like anybody does that gets into it, going to very well-known locations that we pay to go to and to investigate. Over the years, that has changed quite a bit. We have, been leaning away from the popular hotspots that everybody knows and loves, and we are, becoming more involved in the Pittsburgh-based community, as far as helping businesses and helping individuals with hauntings in their homes or hauntings in their places of business. They call us, and want us to come in and kind of put a story behind all of the things that their loved ones and coworkers have experienced throughout the years. So it's shifted quite a bit over the years, but at the end of it all, we're still just enjoying what we do with it. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're talking about scary stuff tonight, of course. Can you share some of the most scary encounters that you've had during your investigations?
Yeah, I think we've kind of encountered different things throughout our time doing this. A little bit of location based, but also situationally too. I know one of the ones for me was actually early on when we went to Gettysburg, the orphanage. We were in the basement there where there was an old, there was said to be an old headmistress, and still there, like tortured the children back then. And she's still there. I mentioned her name, and I got violently ill. Nothing like that has ever happened to me. So much so where the rest of the team actually had to take me out of, kind of leaving them hang out to dry to clean up the equipment and everything. But that basically called it quits for us then that night. But yeah, that was one of the more severe things that had ever happened. As far as scary or frightening goes.
It's amazing that, and this is pretty common for people to be ill or become ill while they're on an investigation. And it seems that the entities themselves have the ability to do that to a person. I wonder what their methodology is. Do you have any theories about that?
Most of the time when I've heard of things or encountered things, they're kind of sharing what happened to them, to us. I don't think that this was one of those particular times, but I think more often than not when we experience something like that, more so with our sensitives and mediums we work with, but they end up sort of whatever trauma had happened to that person in the past actually comes back, and they kind of share that in the present with that investigator. I know that actually just recently, about 2 weeks ago, Dan was actually struck with what felt like a heart attack at the time. We later find out that the individual who had died there died from a heart attack. So that was one of those particular situations where it was kind of sharing what had happened to them, to us.
Yeah, and that's something that we're learning more and more as we do the things that to conduct the investigations the way that we do them. We are coming to find out, these feelings or these, just general uncomfortableness, sensations that we feel during investigations. We've learned to kind of dive into those feelings, and really try to see what they could be telling us. Like Derek is talking about, just the most recent investigation from 2 weeks ago. Before Derek and I even started investigating, we were at the site over a month beforehand with the owner of this shop, walking through, having him tell us what he's experienced, what his what his employees have experienced. And up on the third floor, I got a very heavy pressure on my chest the entire walkthrough while on the third floor, and at the time when we were just walking through, I didn't think much of it, but I did call it out and make note of it. And then, while we were actually doing the investigation, where we had this individual coming through to us, telling us, who he was. We had a medium with us. She was picking up that this man had died of a heart attack, and I continued to, and I started to feel this again as soon as I was in that space. We're learning to trust those feelings and, see them as more than just us feeling uncomfortable. There's something there to it, right? There's something trying to, interact with us. Sometimes I think it can come from a place of, wanting sympathy, like in the case of the pressure on my chest, what developed into numbness in my arm. It felt like a heart attack. I don't think that there was sympathy that this man was requesting, but like Derek was saying, I think that he was just trying to, impress upon us who he was, while making us kind of feel what he felt. But also there are times that, like in Derek's instance in Gettysburg Orphanage, this was, we saw that as an attack, right? And when that's what we have to try to draw the line and understand, there's a point where we're no longer going to push ourselves, and we have to know when to pull back, right? We have to know, we have to keep ourselves and our safety in our minds. So in some places, sometimes we do have to pull back because it can intensify to something that we can't control.
Yeah. And you don't want that.
No.
It's best to walk away from a situation like that.
Yeah.
Have you, as a team, ever investigated graveyards?
The only graveyard that we've ever done was actually in Gettysburg. It was actually kind of a time filler. We had gone to, investigate the orphanage, to investigate the Jenny Wade house. And we just had some time to kill, no pun intended. But we just took the opportunity to, go to a very, unpopulated, so to speak, area where there was a marked cemetery, and we did an investigation there on principle. We typically do not, because I don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't feel that that's really my place, or our place to investigate cemeteries, out of respect for the people that are there, but also I just feel like because I typically lead the investigations. I typically feel like I don't have control of situations in cemeteries as much. So we try to steer away from those based on that. But the Gettysburg Cemetery that we investigated yielded some pretty incredible evidence. But typically by principle, we do not.
So do tell about some of the evidence that you got there.
Yeah, so that cemetery was actually it was an Adams County cemetery. So it was actually constructed prior to to the war. So this area actually acted as part of the battlefield, kind of off of it, mainly for just storage, troops, movement of some things. But as far as the location of it goes, it's actually right across the street from an old, it was an old poor farm. So they actually had doubled that cemetery as the poor farm's graveyard. So we actually began to get some names and even got I believe it was was it a shadow or a mist down? It was one or the other.
That was a heavy mist that had formed into almost like a humanoid type shape.
And it was almost like it was walking towards us from where that building had stood. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of like our meters, the EM meters, K2s, REM pods, spirit lights, all of those kind of things were almost off the charts at that place. And it was really, it was actually hard to hone in on what was going on there. You know, just, we like to try to keep it, you know, as a communication kind of technique, not just, you know, turn the lights on so it looks cool. We like to keep it as a yes, no kind of feature. And it was just very hard to do that because I'm not sure if it was just too many people trying to step forward, or what the case may have been at that point, but it was really hard to hone in on just one person there that we were talking to. But it did create a lot of these different evidences that, you know, something was playing with these devices. They were lighting these things up, changing the energy field. So that alone was interesting to see.
Yeah, and there were a lot of very definite EVPs on multiple different headstones where we left voice recorders, and we were getting different voices on all of them, which is to what Derek's talking about, where there were so many. It seemed like there were so many entities that were trying to communicate with our devices all at the same time. When there was only 3 of us there, it was very difficult to engage and have any idea of what was happening because there was just so much communication all at the same time.
That's amazing. Did you guys get video of this?
We did. Yeah, we did get video of it. It is, Derek, I believe it's on our website, is it not?
Yeah, it's on our website as well as our YouTube page.
Yep.
Okay, and tell everybody what your website is, the address.
Yeah, so our website is ironcityparanormal.net, or I'm sorry, .org. .org.
Change it too often.
We've changed it a couple times from a .com to a .org. So it is ironcityparanormal.org. That is the place where we put all of our raw footage on, because we believe in the power of more ears and eyes on evidence. To tell us, you know, what people are hearing and what people are seeing. So if all of our raw video, even if there's nothing on the video, we'll say we don't hear anything in this section, but give it a listen, right? Give it a look, because then we've actually had some people that joined us virtually after filming or recording things, that people have picked things up, and we've actually been able to go back and listen to it and actually make sense from other videos where we pick things up in one video where we just can't put the pieces together, but then somebody listens to the video on another piece of footage, and then we can actually piece them together and tell a better story. But that's the place where everything can be found.
Well, we're talking about shadow people tonight, so I thought I'd ask you if you've ever run into a shadow person either on or off an investigation or at your home.
Yeah, luckily I can say that my home is clear. I haven't we haven't run into shadow peoples at our house. We have run into shadow peoples multiple times during investigations that we've seen. So that's one of the difficult parts about investigating, is having every inch of every space covered with a video camera, right? Because it's one thing to experience it personally. You know, one of the things that we try to do is to share, you know, the experience best we can. So a lot of the times the shadow figures are very elusive as far as our equipment is concerned, right? We have captured them But then most of the shadow figures that I know I have personally experienced have been like those out of the corner of your eyes shadow figures. But we have had some luck capturing them on video. Just recently at the pizza shop that we just investigated, I saw a approximately 6'3" shadow figure walk into one of the narrow passageways from the dry storage area around the basement of the pizza shop. And unfortunately, I don't think that we did capture it, but they're interesting because a lot of the times in our experience, the shadow figures aren't ones that interact with us, right? The shadow figures are, I don't know, and Derek, you step in any time, I don't know if they're intelligent all the time, but at least in a lot of our investigations, shadow figures have been like more of watchers than participants.
They absolutely have. They've never seemed to step forward and seem to want to speak. But you can actually, whether it's seeing them or actually, there's been a few times where the surroundings have kind of alerted us to them, that they were there. There was a very interesting situation when we were investigating an island, and we were out in the woods, just kind of walking down this path. And all of a sudden, I mean, we just have our equipment going and rolling. And all of a sudden, these horses that they have, there's a stable and everything on the island. These horses are just starting to cry out and like, what's going on over there? We spun around and we're hearing these footsteps in the leaves, just out of nowhere. We're thinking that there was somebody else, just another guest, because it was a public investigation. It's an island, so it's kind of hard to differentiate there. But what we found is, on top of the voices that we were alerting the horses, and we just started snapping some pictures, and we actually got this. It was extremely tall, probably, Dan, what was it, 7-8 feet tall?
Yeah, at least it was a very tall, dark shadow figure that Derek. I mean, he's exactly right. We let the surroundings tell us, and we heard this large footstep happening through these leaves. It was fall, so everything was dry, and we heard the crunching of the leaves after the horses were alerting that something was in the area. Derek just instinctively turned and snapped a photo to a tree that was probably, what, Derek, 15 feet away from us?
Yeah, it was probably at least that, but you could see this figure. I mean, not only could you make out the shape of the figure itself, but you could see the face in it. And talking to the local guides and historians and everything, I mean, the closest thing that we could figure out is that this was a watcher related to the Native American lore of that island.
Okay.
And we didn't really think much of it at the time until we started showing people what this thing was and told them the story and everything, but definitely tying into the horses crying out. And I mean, the whole situation with it just kind of following behind, again, not really participating or even caring that we were there, really just, exactly. That seems to be all that they were doing.
That's typically what they do, what these shadow people do. It's kind of unusual to see a 7 or 8 foot tall shadow person. Did it have red eyes by any chance?
I don't believe it had red eyes. No,
they came across the photo as white eyes.
Yeah, you could make them out.
Yeah,
you could absolutely make them out.
Yeah,
and most of the time when we see these things, they're just black. Like just
right.
A complete black blurb. So to see the eyes in this thing was actually astounding in its own right.
Yeah, and it's actually funny because that was the first true shadow figure that we had come across during an investigation, and that stance of the watching, just not participating but staying in the, for lack of a better term, the darkness, right? That that type of stance from a shadow figure has been perpetuated every time we interact with one of these things, or in an investigation where we experience a shadow figure. It's always in that same manner where it's just they're watching, they're not participating. A lot of times the other spirits that we talk to are telling us that there's something there that, you know, a lot of times it's holding the other entities back from interacting with us. You know, we've captured a thermal image of what could have potentially been a shadow figure had we had, you know, some semblance of light. We may have seen something, but we actually have a thermal video where I'm sitting in a bedroom at the Gill House in Ohio, talking with these female spirits through our Phasma box, and we're having a conversation. And one of these two individuals are talking over each other. They're so anxious to get their voice heard and to tell us what they're doing and who they are, and you know what they're about. And all of a sudden, they stop talking. After a period of a few minutes, 5-10 minutes of them just going on and on and on, all of a sudden they stopped talking to me. And I said, you know, where'd you go? Like, I want to talk to you guys, but I need to talk to one of you at a time so I can understand. And one of the female spirits that I was talking to actually said, he's here. And
prior to that, we were warned. They did say that he's coming, and we weren't sure. We were actually trying to figure out who he was.
Yeah, so it says he's here, and then they wouldn't say anything. And I looked to my left. It was just Derek and myself in this location, and I looked to my left, and Derek is standing there with our thermal image, thermal camera, pointing towards a doorway. And what the video is actually you can clearly see the outline of the door with the thermal signature coming from, you know, the room on the opposite side of the doorway. And there is about, you know, 5.5 to 6 feet up, there's a dark blue and dark blue colored cold spot that is peeking his head in the door. And you can see him moving in, like, back and forth and staying behind the door frame, but also trying to, you know, interject and like make sure that things aren't said, or keeping these other spirits, you know, controlled in some manner. So those are the kind of interactions that we've had with those you know, quote unquote shadow figures. It's very, you know, I'm here, but I don't want to say anything kind of stuff.
Wow. That's so, you know, this is up for debate, but what is your opinion about what these things are?
It depends on the situation and where it is. I think they could be a bunch of different things. You know, some of the things that we've encountered, particularly like the Native American things, are these spirits that the natives had called upon and now watch over their land, and particularly their graveyards. They're more ancient areas that are important to them. But it could be a whole. I mean, who knows, right? But the things that we've encountered definitely seems like it's had some kind of tie to the land itself.
And there seem to be several different types of these things as well. The small, fast-moving things that you see with your peripheral vision, the type that you saw with, you know, obviously standing there in the road or looking in and out of a doorway. And then there's some malevolent acting type of shadow people that stand at the foot of your bed and stare at you. You wake up in the middle of the night and you see that. It's pretty unnerving because they don't seem to be like regular spirits, you know, or ghosts, where they will usually try to communicate with you in some fashion. And they just seem to be observing.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I think that personally, right, like I said, being typically the one that is in the, like, leading the investigation, when we encounter shadow figures, they make me uncomfortable because I don't feel like there's always some sort or any sort of humanity in them, right?
Right.
They're not trying to tell us a story. They're not trying to share their life. They're not trying to let us know they're there. Things that don't want you to know they're there are the ones you got to worry about. You know what I mean? Like I can't interact with you. I can't I can't get on your level, so to speak. When something doesn't talk back to me or to us, that's when I feel like, again, I'm going to use that word control, right? I feel like I personally am in, or we are collectively in danger because we just don't know what that thing is that's there. And if we don't know what that thing is, then we can't feel safe opening ourselves up to that. That's where I don't like to try to interact with shadow figures in that manner.
And it feels like you can feel them too. Like there's a clear change to the energy, to the atmosphere when they are around. And I would say it's definitely more of a negative sensation. You can kind of see it in everyone's body language too, whether they sense it or not. You know, something changes in the room. You can feel it. You can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, indeed.
I got a question for you guys. You've been working together for a better part of 7-8 years, and your experience in this goes even farther than that, extends even farther. What are your thoughts on? I mean, I've been producing just on the alternative talk radio side for probably over 15 years now, and there's been a lot of crazy gadgets and gizmos that have been invented. Just to gear you guys up for the missions you go out on. What are your thoughts on some of these? Are they worth the money that you spend on them? Are your tools solely based on like sort of atmospheric sensors, or what kind of stuff do you guys prefer to use?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we have spent a lot of money on equipment.
More than we want to admit.
Yeah, a lot of money over the years with equipment, and I will tell you, it's kind of come full circle. When we started with, quite honestly, nothing. We had ourselves. We went and we borrowed equipment from the individuals when we were doing the bachelor party at an old poor farm turned skilled nursing facility. We were very basic. We had the K2 meters, right? We had voice recorders. We had a spirit box, and that was about it. And then as we went through, we started to get more technology and more advancements in the technology. Now we're bringing in, software on laptops. We're bringing in, ovuluses. We're bringing in the SLS camera. We're bringing in all of these technology forward devices. And what we found, we didn't get that much added benefit in those devices. We had some cool things that we'd capture along the way, but what it did was it pulled us as individuals mentally away from listening to what they were telling us and feeling the sensations and just experiencing the space. We were
being there in the moment. Absolutely.
Exactly. We were so wrapped up in, I hope I get this on camera. I hope this figure shows up on an SLS camera and maps a figure, that we were pulled out of it so much, and we did not feel that we, made those connections with these spirits. So now we're coming the opposite way, where we have the devices, and a lot of the times those devices don't get taken out of the box because we don't feel that we can connect with these entities the same way, and also utilize the equipment. So to your question, I mean, I always am hesitant with the very fancy stuff, only because when you market something as ghost hunting anything in this day and age, with all of the microchips and microphones and all of these things that you can implant in devices. I don't, I know we can't trust that, this device that says it's for ghost hunting and it says words back to you. Are we sure that there's not something in there that's listening to what you're asking and then putting words up on the screen just to kind of like continue the ruse? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the technology's fun, but it's as we don't connect personally at the same, like with all of the entities when we have that out. So we're leaning away from that now, but there are some really cool devices out there. That's for sure.
Yeah. The question with me, I don't know so much. I noticed that it used to be people that went in, they sat down and they kind of acclimatized themselves.
Got in tune. Yeah.
And then, and it's sort of like, the ADHD bus pulled up.
Yep.
And a bunch of people have to have this static racket and all this hyped up shit, to because it can get quite boring. You could fall asleep easy.
We have.
People don't understand. It's not like it's on, Ghost Hunters and Adventure Brothers, Ghost Adventures, like Adventure Brothers. My grandson called them. Pop, let's watch the Ghost Adventure Brothers.
Just combine a few of them. It's fine.
Yep.
The intro would start, and that little doll head with that eye would turn, and he would run, and that'd be it. We wouldn't even.
Yep.
We wouldn't run. But it's like they just came up with all these gadgets that sort of hyped up everything. So I feel where you're coming from on that, because the human body is, if you think this thing right here's got a lot of sensors in it, this thing is just trying to mimic what is all already in here for the most part. Mm-hmm. From the cameras to the recording, the vocals, the mics, everything in it is just like a little version of us. But I've learned a lot through Margie on how to utilize your own sensors and your own. And I'm not a ghost spirit hunter, none of that. I mean, that's the one thing that I'm real nervous about, like Margie and everybody tries to get me to go, and I'll be like, I'll sit outside where like all the screens are and the snacks and the sodas and the stuff. I'll bring it to the porch for you. I mean,
that's not a bad place to be. Let's be honest.
I'm just not spending the night. Yeah. I'm just not spending the night in the place. And I'm not, because, honestly, I always cop out and say, I'm a big fella. And if something comes up and tells me to get out, I'm going to start moving towards the first door. And if anybody's between me and that door or a wall or a window, we're going through it together. like, line dancing at the country bar. We're all together right through the door and right out the front yard.
No, you're absolutely right.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for you guys. Honestly, all the joking to the side, because there are a lot of people that need help in this stuff too.
Yeah,
And they do. And yeah, that's what we're starting to get into, right? Is those people that, I mean, we've learned over almost the last decade of doing this, to trust ourselves and to understand that, these things can't hurt us, so to speak, but we also have to respect them. A lot of times people that are new to these things, that have been living in fear their whole lives of them, they look to people like us and, anybody that does paranormal investigation to try to provide answers to them so that they can feel safe again.
Yeah.
And that's really become a powerful thing for us, is just helping people regain their comfort in their homes. I mean, it's pretty spectacular to see the change that people go through once they have a face or have a name to whatever's there and understand that they have control, and can take their place back. I mean, it's pretty spectacular.
Well, there I can only imagine, but there has to be a lot of elements that are involved in this entire scope of what you guys do. It's a deep well, and the learning curve is pretty steep, I can imagine. And learning to use your own talents, I think, is something that our ancestors did very well. They were taught, they were learned, they were brought into it that way. I wish we could all get back to it. I bet we would get a lot more answers a lot faster. But
I'm sure you're right. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, our stories just aren't quite enough for the mainstream public. You know what I mean?
That's the unfortunate part.
They want something they can put their hands on, and I really don't blame them. I really don't. But
that is the problem with the entertainment industry, right? I mean, that's kind of how it works. Is they want it now and they need it.
These people
grab people's attention.
They have seen Bigfoot. When I've interviewed, I have interviewed hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of people in my life. But these guys that, when you're standing, looking them in the eye and you're talking to them, especially out in the field, a location where it happened and that sort, when you see them telling that story, man, and you get chicken skin from it, like literally your body is physically reacting from the sound of the words he's speaking. But the energy comes, the charge for me comes from looking in their eyes and feeling what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And when they really see something, you can really tell. I mean, there's some good actors in the world, and there's some people that can convince themselves they saw some shit they didn't really see, but you can feel it. And when these people experience apparitions and things moving and poltergeists and their children are being, terrorized, or the parents, they need people with real world experience to comfort them and to come in and help them. And people that do the work that you guys do are perfectly cut out for that, because it is just real. If just hearing the story in real time from somebody can physically affect me and metaphysically affect me, being there and willingly walking into something like that by choice is, you guys are 10 foot tall and bulletproof to me. I mean, because I just really would hate to find myself doing it. I'm so uncomfortable about it. But you guys, man, I'm glad you're there, really. And my friend Dan, Dan that does Most Haunted, he's fearless. Like he is willing to, to get his dowsing rods and go do his thing. You know what I mean? And I'm just glad that folks like you are there, because I know a lot of folks out there that could use that kind of help too. And hearing you guys are moving in that direction is awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And we that's something that I always enjoy. So Derek and I will, this is what we always say, we're never out to convince anybody any of this is real, right? Because we ourselves are trying to figure that out, right? That's why we do this. We're trying to figure out if any of it's legitimate, and we've had people, and just recently, this most recent one, we had somebody with us that was, I don't want to say through and through a skeptic by any means, but they were
definitely more on that side of it.
Yeah, the word that he actually used, this individual that was with us, he said he was very cavalier about the paranormal, right? He was very like, if it's real, he's like, I'm not saying it's not real, but I'm also saying it's not, so it was, he was very cavalier with it, and he was always hesitant to dip his toes in it. But he came up to us afterwards and he told us, like, he thought it was really fast. It turns into very fascinating very quickly when you're doing it safely, right? If you're just going gung-ho, like busting a door down in an abandoned haunted building, throwing yourself into the wolves' den, so to speak, that's not a safe way to do it. But when you approach it in the right manner and you're respectful, it's incredible what it gives back to you. right? And that's what we always say. Like, if you are even in question of things, come with us, right? We're not going to guarantee anything's going to happen, but we're going to keep you safe while we're doing it, so that you're not going to put yourself in a situation where you could bring harm to yourself or your family, or take something home with you, right? We like to do it in a safe manner so that everybody gets the most out of it, and then they can start to formulate their own questions and their own answers through doing the investigation.
Amazing. That's awesome. You and Derek, look, Dan, you guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us on Halloween night. We truly appreciate you taking the time and coming and sharing some of your information with our viewers and our listeners. And that, before I let you go, I want Margie to be able to close you out and everything. But I want to also remind everybody watching on YouTube, you can listen to the UnX Network by going to unxnetwork.com. Click on the listen tab. You can also find all of our on-demand content there. And for everybody listening on the radio side, happy Halloween to all of you. And I hope everyone's having a wonderful Halloween there. And all of you guys can come over to our YouTube channel at KUNXDB UNX Network. UNX Network or KUNXDB will get you to our YouTube channel. And you can come watch live with us tonight. We've got a little ways still to go on our special Halloween special. And again, thank you guys. I truly appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having us, guys.
Thank you so much, Dan and Derek. And Derek, keep up the good writing for UnX Magazine. We appreciate what you're. I mean, hey, let me tell you guys, I have to sometimes pull Derek back on the number of words. Okay, I will say he is a prolific writer. So, we thank you for that. Really appreciate you guys coming on tonight.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, guys. Thank you.
That's
all right.
Guys there.
Well, why don't we go ahead and take a short break here, and then we'll come back with some recorded interviews that we did, some short ones, and we'll be back right after this, folks.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie K and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from UnX Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unxmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unxmedia.com or amazon.com.
And we are back, and this is the Twilight Zone tonight. It feels like, doesn't it, Rice?
It always is.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what makes it fun.
And
it's never a dull moment around here. That's for sure.
And the live stuff is the best. It always will be. I love well-produced podcasts, video casts, and streaming casts. I love well-produced, but nothing will ever replace live for me. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
With all of its amazing and beautiful flaws.
And there are flaws.
And when you're really good, we can flaw and you don't even have a clue. If we can hide it real good.
True.
Margie, you did a series of interviews, and I know that you had a couple of queued interviews up for us to watch tonight. I've got another one too from our former editor and host on the network, Lee Spiegel. He always did wonderful Halloween shows, and one of his favorite guests was Dr. Lloyd Arbach. And I pulled out just a little excerpt to put in on the show later. Maybe we can drop it in after, one of your interviews that we did or that you did. And we can listen to Lee do his thing from Edge of Reality Radio with one of his favorite Halloween guests. Parascience is, a real thing. And these guys do a great job in teaching and instructing and researching and learning. And it was one of those guys. And, it's hard to impress Lee Spiegel. It always was. And if he liked him, it was worth listening to. So we've got a little 10, 15-minute piece that we're going to share with everybody. Austin, that's true. Jack Buck said live radio is the most intimate form of mass communication. And I would say that's 100%. 100% there. But I'm going to tell you, last night was a great example of it when we replayed the 87th anniversary of
War of the Worlds.
And it truly is a great example of the power. Come on in, honey. The power of radio and what it can do to people and how it can do it.
Oh yeah.
That's a really good point. But
that caused a mass panic.
Oh yeah,
Northeast.
Wide.
Man.
It sure did. And just like you and I had mentioned today, the subject of probably a lot of think tank conversations and over the years and how to use the media to affect change in the population. So yes, absolutely the most intimate form of mass communication. And I'm just very, very lucky to have spent a good portion of my life in that industry. And I'm glad to be here with you, Margie. And thank you for having this network and for having me here with you. I appreciate it.
Well, like I said earlier, I couldn't do it without you. I really mean that. And so you're not going anywhere. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Not going anywhere. You mentioned earlier, now I lost my train of thought.
Your interviews?
This happens. See, at my age, sometimes this happens where you're just going along and you think you're going to go into something and boom, it's gone out of your mind. Just gone.
And when you young folks out there see this, if you're not watching it live tonight, which thank you for everybody being here on all the platforms, you're going to get it too. Laugh it up now.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's coming.
It's true. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's like you're going into a room to get something, and by the time you get to the room, you've forgotten what it was you're going to get. For? So now you got to turn around and go back where you were so that you can be reminded about what the thing is you needed to do. Oh, yeah, it's fun. It's fun, let me tell you. But we've got a good show for you tonight. We're going to go ahead and play this interview with Devin Listrom now. And so enjoy. We're here this evening with Devin Listrom. And Devin, of course, is a witch, and I invited him to come on this evening to talk about witches and witchcraft. Welcome to the program, Devin.
Thank you for having me.
Well, before we get started, can you just give us a little bit of history of yourself, about you, and what do you do?
Well, I am a healer. I do massage therapy. I do a lot of energy healing, energy work. I do paranormal investigations. I do psychic readings for people, and I like to write about paranormal as well. Got my first book out, and I do those things all the time, and I actually enjoy it quite a bit.
Okay, and you're working on a second book right now. What is the title of that one?
That book is going to be a 2-volume book. It's going to be called The Way of the Witch, and it's going to be great.
And can you just give us a basic outline of what it is?
Yeah, it's going to talk about the historical persecutions towards witches, especially women. It's going to talk a lot about the basics of ritual, magic, magical intentions, and how we fit in this world as modern witches.
Okay. Well, let's take a look back at the historical part, which wasn't very friendly to witches. Going back to the Middle Ages, how were they treated?
They were living in terror basically on a daily basis, especially women. I believe that the church in that time would actually use the word witchcraft as a curse, meaning an evildoer, and they would use it as an scapegoat to actually go after someone, especially a woman who was independent, or to get rid of certain people so they could have people come to church and make money. And they didn't want people practicing the old ways because they could make money on it. That's what it all boils down to. But they felt that women made the men feel inferior. So women were constantly labeled as witches falsely with a false definition to where they were executed a lot, especially ones that had like assets of some sort that they could go after. So it became a big business in those days.
And these women were not necessarily witches. They would be healers or midwives and things like that, right?
Yeah, they knew the herbs, they knew healing work, they understood how to take care of the sick, all those things, and birthing babies. But they weren't necessarily witches, though. They were just called witches falsely, basically. I would say most of the people that were executed back in those days, most of them were not witches, but they were falsely accused, basically.
And then, of course, the Salem witch trials, 1692 era. Everybody's pretty familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not so sure that everyone knows the reason behind the accusations.
Yes.
In acquiring land, it was pretty amazing how people could get away with these things at that time.
Yes. I did some extension research on the Salem trial, especially when I was up there in Salem. A lot of it had to do with land grabbing, business grabbing, wanting someone else's spouse, jealous of someone, neighbor squabbles, money squabbles, especially land grabbing, and people who were not liked in the community. And I think that the girls just kind of fell into a displayed frenzy that was completely performed to accuse people. And they were said to say the Lord's Prayer in the trials. And if you messed up on one of the words or your accent was not making it sound right, you were in danger pretty much at that point.
Is it true that if a person wanted someone else's land, that the accuser would accuse someone of witchcraft, and then if they were found guilty, that the accuser would obtain their land?
Yes. A lot of, even not just land was taken, but also materials are grabbed. Before the person was even fully accused, they were already grabbing their materials, their farm materials, house materials, as well as their land. And trying to see what they can get for it, basically. And one of the things I think that really made everything so terrifying was the fact that spectral evidence was used a lot, and that is when they accused of someone's spirit attacking them. And that was allowed and taken at face value to the point where nobody was safe, basically.
So how do you actually prove spectral evidence?
You really don't.
Right. It would be he said, she said type of situation, wouldn't it?
Right. Yes. So, and those afflicted girls that putting on the performances, right, every single trial and every single examination as well, acting out, basically.
Those must have been very trying times. I know you've been to Salem. I've been twice, and they've got an area there outside of town that they call the Hanging Hill, where they believe that the witches were hanged. So when I was there, I was with my daughter and my friend, and we started walking up that hill, and all of a sudden this dark energy hit all of us. Did you experience that when you were there?
I didn't experience that exactly there in that area. I experienced it in another area, though.
Where was that?
I was at the Howard Street Cemetery.
Oh, yes.
And that's supposedly where Charles Corey is buried, the one who was pressed to death for not admitting to witchcraft charges. And supposedly put a curse on Salem and every sheriff that followed 1692. I felt like I was being followed, and then I felt like I was jumped. I felt like my emotions were just being shredded, and I had to stop and have a huge breakdown. And I felt fearful, I felt sad, I felt angry all at once. When I got back to my hotel room after that, I had to kind of recover from that. And from that experience, I felt like wherever it was that was following me, it came to my hotel room.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, because the lights kept getting dark. So I turned on more lights, and it would still get dark. So energetically got dark in there. And that went on for a couple of days.
Really?
Yeah, in my hotel room.
And did you talk to the manager or anybody about that?
No, I wasn't sure how that was going to sound to them, but they're probably used to things like that. I basically just told the spirit, I need you to go back where you came from, basically, and rest in peace. But I have a gut hunch it was probably Charles Corey, because how he felt about being deceived and the way he died and the way everyone else that was victimized were falsely accused as well. No one ever got a fair trial, according to his words.
Right, exactly. I too was in that cemetery and had a couple of strange things occur. There are some children buried there that they don't have grave markers, but they think they know where they are. There's like a little hill. Did you see that?
Yes.
You remember that? Okay. So as I'm approaching it, my purse was yanked off of me and the strap was split in half. This was a leather strap that was torn in half. And nobody could believe it. It was it was pretty shocking. We didn't see anything, but I sure felt it. And everybody there saw it. So there's definitely, not only in those places, but a lot of other places in Salem that are haunted.
Oh, I believe that. I definitely believe that. I think that there is activity everywhere in Salem, almost everywhere, because of what happened there. But people say that the Salem witch house, which is where one of the judges lived, is haunted. But I didn't feel like it was a negative haunting. I don't think the victims were there, because I thought, why would they go there in the first place? It was one of the judges where he lived, basically.
Yeah, Salem is a neat place. If you want to get spooked, or if you just want a neat place to visit, I really, really like Salem. I believe that I saw an elf there as well for the first and only time that I've ever seen one. It's fascinating stuff. So I'm looking forward to your second and third books.
Yes.
Coming up. And as a modern witch, what do modern witches do these days?
Well, I'll say for myself, for starters, most of the magic I do on myself. I try not to link myself to other people's energy or fate, basically. Now, if I want to keep someone away from me, for example, I do magic on myself to change the energy so this other person doesn't want to be around me. Those are ways. I think some of the best magic you can do is on yourself, because it does link you to other people and their energy and their fate. One of the things I like to do a lot is candle magic. I love candle magic. You're putting intentions into the candle and then letting it burn into the atmosphere, into the universe with your intentions. I love doing tarot cards, getting messages from the spirit world. I like to do a lot of chanting. Let's see, other things I like to do. I like to burn sage sometimes, the cedar, to help shift the energy. Sometimes I take a broom and I sweep through my home. I sweep out the old energy in a counterclockwise direction, what we call widdershins. And that is when we sweep the energy out of the home. And then after that, I'll do some saging. And that's when you want to open up the windows, let all that energy out through the windows and the front door.
So sage,
what's that?
Sage is a positive energy.
Yes, it's a positive energy. Mm-hmm. If you don't like sage, cedar is just as good. It's not quite as potent. Mm-hmm. The other things I like to do is to do a lot of scrying. I like to gaze into the black mirrors to get messages. You can gaze into crystal balls and get messages. Sometimes on surfaces of water can be used for scrying. Sometimes I just go right into a deep meditation and close my eyes and just scry inward. Some of the things that you can do. But I think some of the more powerful things you can do is candle magic. I think that's the most powerful thing you can do, is doing magic on yourself, basically.
Okay. Well, that's good advice for up-and-coming witches.
Yeah.
If someone wants to study witchcraft, where would they go?
I would find a teaching coven who is well-educated and reputable. Or you can find a single teacher that can teach you, like my teacher. I can't display her name online though. But there are lots of single teachers that can teach you. Finding someone who's at least first degree initiated who can take you in the right direction, and studying the right books, giving you the right materials, and giving you all the information so that you can start studying on your own, not just in the class with your teacher, but also on your own. You will have a pretty good amount of academic work to do, as well as your practical work to do, and it all kind of balances out together. I would say witchcraft and the studies and the practice of it all is not for the faint of heart. It's for people who really want to take it serious and do the work.
So there's a lot of work involved.
Yes, but it's very rewarding.
Okay, Devin, what's the name of your first book?
My first book is called Doorway to Spirit.
And what is that about?
That is about my personal experiences with the paranormal, going back to age 5. I started seeing things in my room because my sister and I used to sleep in the same room. Then she took the middle room, and I took the back room where we were. So that means I was kind of on the other end of the house by myself as a 5-year-old. So that's when the spirits started working on me. I would hear spirits at night talking. I would hear and feel energies moving around. And I would see this black figure as like a shadow figure that would come around at times. Sometimes dead people would come to me as well. I had several dead relatives that came to me. They usually come to me right when they pass. And this kind of increased as I got older. And my mother started introducing me to psychic fairs, metaphysical fairs, things like that as a teenager. Then I met my first metaphysical teacher who taught me about meditation and psychic development. And that's when I started becoming aware that I had abilities. So I kept wondering where they were coming from. But then the book progresses through all of that, but also progresses with further paranormal experiences and psychic experiences, and working with a team, going out on cases, and what those brought forward with experiences, getting scratched on the leg, being followed home, hearing voices on the EVP recorder, picking up images on photographs, things like that. So it was a quite exciting experience to have. But today I still have experiences to this very day with the paranormal. And sometimes I'll pick up on my grandmother, and And sometimes I will sense people, like, when was it? It was like Labor Day. No, Memorial Day. My mom and I went down to the Parkville Cemetery, and I picked up on a woman's spirit I never even met. I never knew her. I saw her grave with her picture on it, and she said she died in 2017, and she was still at her grave, grieving over her life coming to an end and missing her family. And she was there the year before too.
Oh.
And I think she died of something, ovarian cancer, I think it was. And she just hangs up by her grave and in grief, basically. But I didn't feel frightened of her or anything.
That's a sad situation.
Yeah.
When the spirit is stuck like that. We're almost out of time, but Devin, what is the scariest thing that ever happened to you?
Ever happened to me? I'd have to say when I was on a case where we were dealing with a woman who died of, I think, something to do with the lungs, where your lungs fill up. And I couldn't breathe on this case. It's like she was making me feel everything that she felt, like she jumped in my body for the next 2 days.
Oh.
And I couldn't breathe. I was going into a panic state. I thought I was going to go to the hospital and get checked out. But once I started acknowledging her, she started letting go. And I think she died somewhere in the 1890s.
Boy, that would be scary. Not being able to breathe for a couple of days. Goodness.
Yeah. It was scary.
All right. Well, I'm glad you made it out of that one. And good luck on your future paranormal investigations and your books coming up. We're looking forward to it. And of course, we can get your books on Amazon.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Devin. We'll see you again soon.
Yes. Thank you. Blessed be.
Margie K.
Race Hobbs. You know, we say that to each other every day, guys. he calls me up, Margie K. Race Hobbs. Oh my gosh. Okay, you had to be there. Yeah, I thought it'd be good on Halloween night to have a real witch come on. Tell us a little bit about what that's
that's spooky in itself. That was good talk. You want to do lead next?
We can do lead next. I do want to mention one thing before we get into that. Violet Wisdom has put together this Halloween spooky guide for this season, and she did it for every single state. So if you go to UnXnetwork.com and click on the blog, you'll see all of these posts she did, and it includes family-friendly events, fake haunted attractions, and real haunted sites to investigate. So if you want to know what's going on in your state, you can go there, take a look at it, and if we're missing something, or if you own a haunted site, let me know, and we'll add it to that list. I also have I took some of her information and added a page that is only the real haunted sites to visit.
Oh, right on.
So, yeah. So we've got that. We will be adding to it.
That's good to have.
Yeah, it is. It's a good resource for people who like this sort of thing and want to go investigate someplace. Most of them are open to the public, of course, and they'll do haunted tours, things like that. And our next step is worldwide. So by next season, we'll have a lot of worldwide locations on there.
Awesome. And she does, and you both, you work so good together, do such good work. I reckon I haven't even seen it yet, and I highly recommend it because I know what you guys do.
Yeah, it's good. So go check it out.
Your how to research and investigate a haunted house, that is top notch. I mean, I never would have thought that, like buying homes and things like that, you need that kind of information. It just took me back to a case that an experience that I happened upon, and I've told this before to you about the fence moving when I went to pick my kid up from these people's house.
Yeah.
You know, they couldn't keep anybody in that place. They would be there maybe 3 months and they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And they just could not keep it rented. And finally they put it up for sale. But, you know, that book right there would save you a lot of trouble, you know, that you really didn't know to even look for.
And really the main gist of it is to try to figure out what is causing the haunting. So that's where Violet's work came in, because she's a professional historic home and researcher. She knows all the tricks of the trade, which I'm telling you, most people don't know these things. It's deep, and you know, you can get involved in it forever if you want to go down that rabbit hole. But she gives everybody the tools that are needed to find out the history of the home, who may have lived there, what may have transpired on that property, and give you clues as to who's doing the haunting and why. So then you might have some ability to maybe contact the spirits, maybe you bring in a psychic medium to do the contacting, and then, you know, inform them if they've passed away. Sometimes you have to do that, and then have them move on. So, so that's what it's for. It's mainly for
Can you put that cover back up for us?
Yeah. Yep.
And,
it's
and
mainly for
everybody on the radio side who can't see what we see on the video.
Yeah.
It's a really wonderful picture of the graphic illustration of the cover of the book, How to Research a Haunted House. Margie K and Violet Wisdom. And Margie, tell everybody on the radio side where they can go pick it up.
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
That's where you go for everything.
And UnX Media is a great resource to learn about all of the other wonderful publications that
yes.
you work on.
And we talked about things that have transpired this past year, Race, with the radio side and the video side. But on UnX Media side, we gained several really good authors and excellent books. And people should check these things out. Their, Incident in Varginha, UFO Attacks on Brazil.
That one is awesome.
Both of those are awesome. And then also we got it from them by Dr. Gregory Rogers. Really good authors, really good books. If you go to unxmedia.com, you'll see a listing of everything. And we're getting so many now that I'm having to divide up the pages to be a little more organized and easier for people to navigate. Plus we had Derek Smith on earlier tonight. Derek wrote a book. It's a horror fiction book. And while that's not really my thing, he's such a good writer, I had to publish it. And he's got 2 more in the can that are going to be coming. So it's a trilogy.
That's really good. And again, we have such a huge volume of people that have joined us from the radio side. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank all of them for being here, because I know we're talking a lot about some visual type stuff. And when you're listening, whether you're at work or you're on the road and you can't watch, we want to let you all know we appreciate you and thank you for joining us. And we're going to try to remember to instruct you as to where to go to see what we're showing you, and a lot more. So, these guys, Margie and the crew at UnX Media, they are a great resource for people who want to write their own book and publish it, and actually publish it from a publishing house. There are a lot of people who do self-publishing, and that's great. But you don't have a magazine with a huge background and audio, radio station, and video platforming resources and promotional resources. Those things go a long way in helping someone who is not in the industry, so to say, people who are doing grassroots projects, grassroots investigations and research, and they want to publish their own books and their own findings and their own ideas and theories and all of that. It's just great. Whether it's well, Margie, what are the spans? What is the spans of topics that you commonly produce with UnX Media?
Well, anything unexplained. It's just like the UnXplained Network. We stick to paranormal, UFOs, cryptids, time anomalies, consciousness. We're reaching out into metaphysical subjects, psychics, and now fiction, which is something I didn't do before, but now I've added fiction. And, if it's good writing, people love that. And there is definitely a market for it out there. That's what people like. As long as they're sticking to the paranormal, that's where we're going with that. So, yeah. And I do have another publishing company, but it's for the muggles. It's for the straight people. So if you also write books, if you write paranormal, but you write something else, maybe cookbook or something like that, then we have another resource as well.
Well, I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I have one that I want to work on. I started this project about 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And I spoke with people like the late, great Jim Mars. And I got his recipe for Texas hot poppers. And together we came up, and I was like, listen, I don't want to say, Jim Mars's, we wanted to have a really slick kind of a name for his recipe. And he came up with Mars Meteorites.
Oh,
that's what he called them, but they're jalapeno peppers that are stuffed and wrapped, and they are amazing.
Oh,
But I mean, I wanted to do a recipe book and get favorite recipes from a lot of the people that are really well known and that people know, and I've been going back through a lot of my old notebooks and my old 3-ring binders and that. And Margie, I came across a lot of those, and I thought, man, Margie would love it if I just came up and said I want to do a cookbook. And I thought you might like it, so I just pitched it to you. I hope you'll help me make it.
I'm all in, Race. I'm all in. I've written a cookbook. It's an Italian cookbook, and it's going up, but I'm also working on another one. Cookbooks are big. Yes, is my answer.
I tell you now, I've done a lot of professional eating in my life. And now all that's pretty much over with. I don't get to eat like I used to or what I want like I used to, but I can still make the stuff that I loved and share it with everybody else. And now that I love doing that. So I think it's a project I'll love to finish.
And you are famous for your barbecue. I know that. And you've got lots of pictures of it too.
Yeah, I've put some protein through a few smokers in my day, and even shrimp bowls and crawfish bowls and stuff like that, big family type stuff. But that will always be my love. That right there, you're 100% right about me doing a lot of that. So I've got some recipes and some stuff that I want to put in there, but I didn't want it to be all about me, because I'm not that guy. But I do have a few things that I think are original enough and good enough that anybody who picked up this book that we're going to do would, they would have bought the book for that one recipe, and that's the way that I want every recipe that's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Down to the strict guidance of how to put it together and produce it, not just the ingredients and half-ass instructions. A lot of this stuff is, even though it's barbecue, it's a lot like baking. You have to measure it right, you have to time it right, temperature it right, zone it in an oven, move it from one side to another if that's what it takes. You know what I mean? But in the end, it's worth it. And we've got, thanks now that tonight is All Hallows Eve is wrapping up. of course, all of our friends on the East Coast and Atlantic Seaboard up there in Nova Scotia and you know, Shag Harbor and up there, it's well past midnight. So Halloween is flipped on us up there. We move toward Thanksgiving, and that's one of my favorite times of year. So I'm thinking about streaming smoking turkeys.
Oh, yes.
and just do it for our KGR, UNX followers and fans and people who love to, to have a wonderful holiday eating experience with their loved ones and family. And I think it'll go over really well. Like Robin's talking about helping me, and she's going to help set up the cameras and film it. And we're going to put it together for you guys for Thanksgiving, well before Thanksgiving. So you have everything you need if you want to do it like we do it.
I think that would be awesome
celebration.
Mm-hmm. People would love that. People would love it.
I hope
and
so.
We've got an idea in the chat here, Race. If we get favorite recipes from other guests in the field and our fans and our followers, why don't we do that? We'll do a cookbook that's the KUNX cookbook.
Fans and followers.
Yes. And hosts.
That's
show
awesome.
hosts.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea. It's going to happen. Yeah. All right. I like making decisions on the fly.
Yeah, well, Margie, we do our best brainstorming when we're connected. We have to be on the same wavelength, on the same level to be able to do all of this stuff that we do. And most people out there really don't know you're producing a lot of the TV, all of that stuff. You're over there doing it, and you're driving the show and interviewing and doing everything. And I'm over here doing the radio side and a little bit of the other side too. But we just work so good together. That's not some generic statement that you just throw out there for everybody to hear. It's the truth. And so I wanted to move before we need to take our next. Should we take a break or should we go ahead and go into Lee?
Why don't we go ahead and go into Lee now?
All right. And I'm glad that you were okay with doing this because again, one of our last minute sort of things, where I just come in and say, hey, why don't we do this? Because, again, going through a lot of historical stuff here, boxes and that from my former office, I, I've come across a lot of stuff. We talked a little bit about the late, great Jim Mars. Well, there's the late, great Lee Spiegel. He's another one of my close friends and colleagues that has crossed over. And I had a really cool journey with him in a very short amount of time, really. Our friendship span, I want to say just a little beyond a decade. But we connected in a way that I never really expected. But a lot of people didn't know that Lee Spiegel actually had a radio career in New York back in the late 70s and the 80s, where he did his show, Edge of Reality Radio on WNBC in New York. And I know the story of how he got the job. I know the story of how he found himself at the towers, NBC, in downtown New York, Manhattan. And, when they hired Howard Stern, and for that matter, when they fired him, he was there for all of that. He interviewed, space greats like William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and the great Randy, the magician, and illusionist, just all kinds of really super cool people. He found himself around a lot, and he had so many stories, Margie, and he was a guy who truly loved Halloween. Let me get back to I helped him resurrect. I pressured him. I poked and prodded him to reignite the Edge of Reality radio some years ago. And and he said, let me think about it. He went away for over a year, well over a year. And he sat back and watched me and what I did and how I did it and the care that I took into it and how I, worked so hard for clients and all the folks that were on the station. And, so he came, and when he came, Margie, that was one of the biggest feathers in my production cap and my engineering and producing cap ever, because I reignited and resurrected through him one of the best shows and the earliest shows that was on public radio. This was before Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, before he exploded onto nationwide television down the road in the late 80s. But Lee was doing this far back behind that in New York in a parallel one radio market. And they loved him. And he had such a great legacy that all of us are probably never really going to know, because that project that I had with him never got done before cancer took him. But I thought it pertinent because he always loved Halloween. Once I got him to bring the show back, every Halloween was a production. He would start sending me Halloween spooky music, sound effects, all kinds of stuff. And we put together, some fun Halloween programs. And this one is just an excerpt of mine and Margie's really good friend doing his thing on Halloween night with Dr. Lord Auerbach. He's a parascientist and a paranormal scientist and a teacher, and just a very well put together guy. And I enjoyed it. He always had him on for, if not the whole show, at least a little bit of every Halloween that we produced with him together. This one is from, I think it was October the 27th, I'm pretty sure, 2022, with Lloyd Auerbach and our good friend Lee Spiegel on Halloween night. And this was the last Halloween show I ever produced for him. And I love him and I miss him. And, here's a little excerpt of how he used to interview people and the kind of talent he brought to his show.
Are there that point to the idea that we, all of us, don't really die at the moment of a physical death? How many studies are going on now?
Well, I mean, here we're really only dealing with, surveys that have been done. We're dealing with studying the patterns of people's experiences. So we are dealing with witness testimony as well as what we hear from, people like psychics and mediums, but really it's the witnesses themselves who have the experiences. And the studies look at the patterns in those experiences. We look for commonalities. I don't know how many specific studies have been done, because you consider a single case possibly a study, but across the board, but across the board, since the founding of the Society for Psychical Research in 1882, there have been significant looks at the patterns of these experiences, and there continue to be that sort of thing, within the group in parapsychology and outside.
If it's true that we don't actually die, then what is science saying now? What is it that survives physical death?
Well, that's back to the question of consciousness. And if you talk to neuroscientists, you may even get variations of what they believe or their opinion, because I've talked to neuroscientists who believe that consciousness is not even in the body, let alone just the brain. And then you have the pure materialist idea that we're all just kind of like meat robots programmed to walk through life certain ways. It's all software and wetware. I certainly don't subscribe to that. You have people who look at consciousness being formed by the brain, but then coherent enough to exist afterwards. And again, you've got the folks in many fields saying, well, maybe consciousness is kind of out here like a satellite or cable signal, and we're the TV set. We're kind of the receiver of that. And it's sort of interactive, but even if something happens to our bodies, like, I don't know, brain damage or something, the signal doesn't get affected. It's just the interface that gets affected.
So plain and simple, the definition of a ghost is the spirit of someone who has died. Is that right?
Yes. The personality of or the spirit is a good word for that. We stay away from soul because of religion, but we are talking about who you are survives, the thing that makes you you.
Wow. And probably most of us don't even have an answer to what makes me me.
Right, that's right. Know? Well, and the other thing I have to say is that ghosts, there are relatively few ghosts compared to the number of people who die. So we're also looking, when we talk about apparitions, we're talking about the people who have not yet moved on to whatever it is the next stage of existence is.
Your years of research have given you some insight into ghosts, apparitions, hauntings, and poltergeists.
Yeah.
What are the differences between these, and why can't people always tell the difference?
Well, generally, most experiences people have, let's say that they see a figure in the hallway. They just came home. It's a little dark in the place. They see a shadow. They turn on the light. They see a figure down there. And that figure is walking towards them, or they go to Gettysburg Battlefield, and at certain times they may experience or see or think they're seeing the battle itself.
Huh.
Or they may walk into a house that they've never been before, and it feels really, really bad, and they come to find out that the couple is having significant knockdown, drag-out fights together. So a haunting is typically a location, but it could be an object that is holding information about activity in its past. And if somebody sees a figure in a haunting, that figure could represent someone who's still alive. It does not necessarily connect to somebody who's dead, unless, of course, that was more or less recorded by the environment a long time ago. So we have hauntings on record of people seeing and hearing living people who just don't live there anymore. Or even in some instances, I have had a couple of reports of people who saw themselves, and it really freaked them out when they saw themselves as that recording, as that haunting. So the thing about those is they're holograms. They're basically non-reactive. They're replays of things. Whereas an apparition could look the same, could look like a normal person that appears and disappears, but that apparition is interactive. It's not a one-way recording in that sense.
And as I understand it, just from things that I've read or seen on television or in movies, the poltergeist is probably not even a ghost or apparition at all.
Yeah, poltergeist phenomena, it seems ghostly because it's physical activity that has no apparent cause. But it always revolves around physical activity, by the way. So unlike an apparition or haunting, not everybody is going to experience it. But with a poltergeist, if you're around when something is happening with a poltergeist case, you're going to see, if you're looking in the right direction, you're going to see everything that's happening. Yeah. And that's physical activity that's caused by a living person. It might be actually kind of a group thing in the sense that that living person typically is under significant stress. Although about 30% of the cases, it might be a neurological issue, like epilepsy, that can be related. But they're under some kind of stress that they're not releasing in other ways. So they don't have any other stress relief valve. And for certain people, they blow off steam, and I guess you could say telekinetically. They affect electronics around them. They have things moving around. We've had appliances go on without being plugged in, so you have some things happening like that. And when I say it could be the group, it may be that person never gets triggered unless certain people are around that person. We all get triggered by other people in certain ways.
And yet, what you haven't mentioned, and I'm surprised, but it's okay, as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong, aren't most poltergeist cases, don't they surround or take place where there are children involved?
Not necessarily. About 60% or so are actually adolescents, which could be, as young as 10, potentially, and as old as maybe 22, 23, 24 years old. It's not just the teenage years. I had a poltergeist case with a woman who was 80. You don't usually get really young children. I will say that you don't get like 5 and 6 year olds as the poltergeist agents. They can be in a case, but someone else in the home is typically doing it. And we don't jump to the conclusion when you have teenagers in the house that it is the teenager that's causing, because it could just as well be a parent who's being driven nuts by their teenagers.
So this is the movies that is making me and maybe others think, oh, it's all about kids.
Well, I think Stephen King in the book and the first version of the movie Carrie kind of set the stereotype as a teenage girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then the original and then the sequels to the original Poltergeist, where it seemed to be activity happening around the young girl.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
See, then I apologize for thinking that it's all about kids.
No,
all right. Well, take care.
Yeah. With the people the small number that have had this happen because they have epilepsy.
Yeah.
A couple of my colleagues have studied that. Those are usually adults. That has not kids at all.
Wow. All right. And as you know, there are so many people around the country who either look for ghosts, either individually or in teams, that utilize a lot of high-tech devices that are flooding the ghost hunting market, all claiming to help you come up with definitive evidence of an afterlife. I'm curious to know what your opinion on all of these devices are, and do they really work? And do you use anything like this?
So first, I'm sorry I didn't get on the bandwagon early because I could have made a fortune the way that some of the manufacturers are. People are developing devices that, first of all, I have to say right off the bat, none of the devices, zero, have been shown to actually detect ghosts because we don't know what we're trying to detect. Wow. That's number one. Number two, some of the devices are environmental sensors, like an electromagnetic field detector.
Right.
And there are different types of those, and we use those. We're trying to see if there is a change in the environment when somebody experiences something or in a haunted place. Most of the folks, because of what they see on TV, think these devices actually detect ghosts. Or if there's a high EMF, they don't ever look for an alternative source for that, or they rarely do. So when you have a device that says it's a ghost box, that's supposedly randomly scanning the radio signals and stopping, which actually was inspired, by the way, by Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that movie. If you remember Richard Dreyfuss in his car when it stalled and the aliens communicated by moving that radio back.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was inspired. The first guy who came up with one of these things was inspired by that. And his original idea was to try to communicate with aliens, with ETs, using one of these things. So many of these devices today, they're misinterpreted. The electronic voice phenomenon is totally misinterpreted in terms of people putting their own impressions on what they think they hear. And we don't really know for a lot of these devices if they're really doing what they say they're doing, such as randomly scanning anything. There have been a couple of devices that I'm pretty sure actually are out there that actually have in their algorithms, because they have a digital tablet, like just a regular tablet that's attached to the sensors. I'm pretty sure that there's some funky programming that's going on in there. And there are even apps out there you can buy. And we recently got an email from someone who's convinced there are ghosts all over because this one app, which is a free app you can get for your phone, was indicating that there are spirits present. And, it's the app. It has nothing to do with there being spirits at all. Just like,
Oh, I was just wondering, do any of the manufacturers of this so-called ghost detecting equipment, do they offer a money-back guarantee?
No, I don't think they do. There's a skeptic who I actually respect. And I don't respect a lot of them, but I've actually taught a course with him by the name of Kenny Biddle, who has taken upon himself to actually take these devices apart. And there are devices, he took one apart not too long ago, this was last year, called a REM pod, which picks up electromagnetic field and supposedly enhances that. And it turned out to be, when he took it apart, it was a $20 theremin kit inside. Theremin is a musical instrument which uses electromagnetic fields for you to play. It's been around since the 40s or 30s even. And he said that probably the most expensive part of the device that was sold for like $200 was the specially made case for the thing, the casing.
Wow. Well, as I'm thinking about all this, if someone wants to become a ghost hunter.
Yeah.
What advice will you give them, and what can they expect, and what are the odds that they'll come up with real proof? And do you suggest they buy any of this equipment that's out there available?
So for the last question first, I'd say environmental sensors are not a bad thing to have, because you can sometimes figure out using these devices that there's some alternative non-ghostly explanation. So for example, with an EMF meter, I have found more bad wiring in homes than I've ever found any indication of spirits. And sometimes the EMF can actually cause people to have experiences that have nothing to do with the paranormal at all. So what we usually tell people is your best skill to develop is interviewing and listening skills. That's important, because if you don't have a ghost story and you can't go through that and then follow up on what they tell you, you can't be a good investigator.
I'm going to cut this just a little bit early, Margie, for time, because we have some other interview. But I just want to come in and say, his line of questioning, Margie, the way he prepared for his shows and questions that he's such a good wordsmith, great writer. Much like yourself. And he was just so creative, but his sense of humor, like when he said, can you get your money back on these, on this expensive equipment that doesn't work, is a bunch of crap. I was back here. I was about to stop it right before there.
Yeah.
And I started laughing and I was choking. And I miss him so much. And, Lee, wherever you are, because, his lovely wife, Lorraine, fulfilled his wish to launch his ashes into space, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, we got to see that live on video. He went on a Falcon rocket and was ejected out into just above the atmosphere out there, and has been circling the earth, and he is due to come back if he hasn't already. I'm not even sure. It's been a while since I've been able to go back, or since I have gone back to that website to look to see if his ashes, if his little pod has fallen back to earth to burn up in the atmosphere. And
right.
So Brother Lee up there, we love you, and I just wanted to bring you in on Halloween. It just wouldn't be the same without you. And I know Margie felt the same way. So, and then real quick before you move on to this next interview, Margie, I wanted to say, a big thank you to Austain's post that they made back earlier. This one here. It has been a while since I've come on and done shows and this and that. And Margie's got me right on the edge of, starting another project. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I hope that it's well received and everybody will enjoy it. We're going to be putting a lot of work into it. So thank you for those kind words and the support. I appreciate it. Now, Margie, let's move on to the next, because we're going to run out of time.
We're going to run out of time. So we definitely want to get Dan Terry's segment in, and it's pretty short. So here it is.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. Welcome to Most Haunted and our Halloween special. Now, I know you guys have seen me do ghost hunts before, but this one was a surprise. I was in Missouri a week or two ago, and I was there for other purposes, but while I was there, I was doing a charity tour of the city of Herman, a ghost tour of the city of Herman, for Ferals in Peril. Now, that is it's a group that helps feral cats. They bring them in, they get them fixed, they feed them, they take them to vets, get the vets to take care of them for a while till they're ready, and then they adopt them out. It's a great group. I've been working with them for years. Well, this time, when I did that, a group, and I'm going to butcher this name, but it's in German, so help me out here, the Edelweiss Winery. Now, the Edelweiss Winery has only been open a year, but this building was built in the 1860s or 1870s, and it was a winery back then. It was producing 2,000 gallons of wine a year. Building's very old, new group come in. A friend of mine, a very new friend actually, who has taken over my place and helping out Ferals in Peril with ghost tours, he did an investigation there. And he sent me some of his video, which I'll be showing you. But I got the chance to go do it. I did an investigation in this place, and it was crazy. It was wild. So I'm going to show you what happened with the Edelweiss Winery. And all I can say, folks, is for you all to stay spooked. Okay? Happy Halloween.
For the music. Yeah, that's a scoop. Danke. Hey, cat. Cat.
Found it. We didn't change anything. They already had the inset cut out, all of the shelves. It's built into the bedrock of the hill, so you can actually see the bedrock in the corners. They just decided to take the rock that was here and then build on it, so you can see that and the bedrock over there.
Please.
So this building was built in the 1850s, completed in 1854, built by a guy named Michael Eberlin. He built this building for his family and for his wife and kids. It was built to be a winery. He only lived through 2 years of this building. He passed away in 1856 after getting kicked by a horse. He is actually buried on property. He is buried out by our pond. We were 12 acres, used to be 100 back then. So the widow couldn't own land, so it went into the ownership of her brother-in-law for 2 years till she remarried a guy named Jacob Colling. He took over it being a winery. They actually had more kids, up to about 9 kids at one point in this house. They had kids together. He made it a winery in the 1870s. They actually produced 2,000 gallons of wine out of this building. And on the property, they grew 4 types of grapes as well. They grew Virginia, Virginia seedling, Ives, and I believe it was Catawba, if I'm correct. But this was their home. They lived upstairs in the belfry. They would have slept. Downstairs in the press room side, they would have made their grapes. This is the original chimney as well. It has a witch's crook chimney, which is crooked at the top. The wives' tale is it was said to ward away ward away witches because they could only make 90-degree angles. So it's crooked. Whereas also downstairs we have hate paint, which is that blue paint like Louisiana, and that's said to ward away evil spirits. So that's downstairs as well. They were very much about that. But this building has a lot of history, a lot of all the original stuff. You can see the original beams above. He passed away as well. We believe in this house. It was before 1888. I don't have the final date memorized. But he is also buried on property next to her first husband as well. And there is also another unmarked base to a grave as well out there by the pond. So that's most of the main history. It left the family in 1888. That was the last time anyone in the family owned it. But they related to this, the Eberling-Culling farm, and then it became the Mueller farm. So
now, what kind of stories do you have about with spirits?
So spirit-wise, I haven't experienced much till like an hour before you got here.
Hi guys.
Literally an hour before you got here, I was sitting up here by myself. They were all downstairs, and this second door up to the belfry actually closed on its own.
Okay.
I was like, I really haven't had much. It always creeps me out after dark though. But I haven't ever had much, never really felt anything until literally like an hour before you guys got here. I was like, I had that, and I walked downstairs and went, guys, I'm going crazy.
If you look over there, it's a full folding door.
Yeah.
You can't just like
close.
The wind can't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the wind
right.
can't do that. It's not like it's shifting because it's an uneven floor or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a bifold door.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, and I looked at the door, nothing happened at the door. I'm like, okay, interesting. And then I immediately went downstairs. Haven't you had something happen?
So,
Abby, right?
Yeah, Abby,
Okay.
yes. Over there in the garden room, I was polishing glasses, and I'm the only one here. I get here a little bit earlier than everyone else just because me and my dad run early. And no one's here, it's just me, and I swear I hear like a man like cough. And I was just like, let's just ignore it. Let's just pretend it didn't happen because I'm the only one here, and I'm like, the last thing I need to go is put more energy into it and make it do some more. So.
All right.
So when I came in, I saw something pass that door in there. And that's funny that you said that because I saw that and I wanted to walk in there and then I thought, no, because you were going to,
Yeah, so.
tell about the thing. But yeah, and whatever it is, it's in there now. So.
Okay. Good to know. But yeah, no, I had never really had anything happen until about an hour ago, I would say it was, because I came down, she had just gotten here, and I came down like, okay, that door just closed on its own. I've never had it happen. I've been here, I'm one of the longest, other than spring, that's been here, and usually one of the main people here, and I haven't really ever had anything happen. It kind of creeps me out later at night, but I haven't ever had anything like that, like a door just closed on its own. It's never like, it never moves on its own, ever. And
Beth, have you had much happen here?
No,
Just
no.
like,
okay. I think you get like, there's always like, you feel like you're being watched kind of thing.
Okay.
But other than that, like they haven't, no.
All
They
right.
haven't like presented.
I was coming up the steps. The K2 was going off. It wasn't the electricity. I checked that. It flashed for, 10, 12 seconds. No explanation for that. But I couldn't video it because I had my hand on I was holding it, so.
It was Stephen Lane that does our, you've met him, he's done our trolley tour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's down doing a tarot reading at the Witches Night tonight.
Oh, okay.
So when he came in, he had where he records, and he walked in, and he's like, I feel like there's children here, and he's like, are there intelligent? Yeah. So
nice.
He's like, are there children here? And then he did the recording, and then the voices came back and they said, we're here. Like,
wow.
We're
cool.
Here. So there were multiple children, and it kind of like, we always think of it as the children. Now that we know that, we're like, oh, like the kids, like.
Well, hence the group.
Yeah, right. And there were a lot of like kids that were born here and died here too.
Okay.
So.
Teresa, why don't I step back because women are more able to talk to kids and see if you can get them to flash the light.
So my name's Teresa. And I can feel you guys.
Yeah.
Can you show yourself? Can one of you show yourself to me? I'm not going to hurt you. We're here to help.
See, flickering a little bit.
Are you having fun playing? Did you have a lot of toys up here? Do you want to tell? Do you want to tell me your name? Can you touch that green light for me?
Is it? That's what I heard it say.
Yeah.
Does that mean anything?
No.
No?
Can one of you touch the green light, please? Do you want us to leave?
Wow.
Are you afraid?
Yes.
You don't have to be afraid. I'm not going to hurt you. Nobody's here to hurt you. Do you believe that I'm telling you the truth? Did somebody hurt you? If it's yes, you touch the green light for me. Did somebody hurt you? Were you sick? No.
Nice. Thank you.
Did you have an accident? Did you fall? Did you fall? Did someone make you fall? Well, thank you for talking to me.
Is there an Andrea over here? Okay, I'm getting a little flick. Can you flip it up all the way like you did before? Is there an Andrea here? If there is no Andrea, wait till I ask. If there's no Andrea, would you please flip it all the way over? Make all the lights come on if there's no Andrea. Okay, all right. Is Michael here with us now? Can you flip it over to red if Michael's here with us now? I wonder if, that's it. All right, thanks. Here, would you please turn the lights on for me? Go ahead.
Okay, so there's Elizabeth, Catherine, and then there's also
You're being followed.
What?
You're being followed.
You're being followed.
And then also a Catherine Laura.
Ah, Catherine Laura really got a bunch of lights going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's also Albert and Xavier. Is it Catherine Laura?
Mm-hmm.
Is Albert here? Is Xavier here? We may be wearing them out too. They did a lot of talking right there.
Okay. I have encountered things before, but not as 100% here. Oh, nope. I was sitting over here one day and we have walkie-talkies and we had turned them off, but mine was on. And I set it over here and I went and sat down and it came over and crackled and said, hello, hello. And I thought, okay, somebody's just picking up, and I go back and I'm like, hello. And then I'm looking around, I'm here, it's dark. I'm like, what's happening? So then I put it back. So then I was like, hello, come in. Then I got funny with the 10-4, big buddy, come in. And then nothing. And then I went and sat down and a little bit later it said, hello. And then that was it. But I don't know, I couldn't really prove it because it's radio wavelength. But I know that was scared me enough that I put my stuff up and went home.
My attention, I came in this room. You had me come all the way in the room.
Okay, my name's Dan, and this is Teresa, and we're here to try and find out who you are. And I seen the light flicker a little bit over there, so I know you're close. Would you talk to us a little bit? Let me know what your name is. First off, would you like to talk to us? If you would you set off one of those lights? I see that one flickering, and I guess you're trying. This one here, just touch the front. This one here, just touch the red top. And they will flash a light. It won't hurt you at all, but it lets us know what you're thinking, what you want us to know. So, just for practice, would you make one of those go off for us? Is it that you don't want to? Hey, Ray, go grab the rods and see if we can talk to him with that, would you?
Yeah.
Okay, your phone's setting off the meter. There we go. Okay, once again, you can talk through that box there or set one of these meters off. I'll even set that meter up a little farther. Let me show you. All you got to do is come over here and touch this. There it is. And it will look like that. And we'll know that's you. Same thing with the other the black meter up there. So, did you live here at one time? Oh, did you live here at one time? We also got the rods if you were watching us in the other room. You were? Okay. If you were, you know what we're doing here. Cross the rods. Cross the rods if it's yes, and separate them if it's no. Okay? And what I'm going to ask you first is, are you Xavier? I'm going to assume you're not Xavier. Okay.
Are you Michael?
Is he still in here? Okay. Well, did you ever live in this? Did you ever live here?
Did you say sickness?
Sickness took me.
Okay, folks. We did have to cut that a little bit short. That's Dan Terry, of course, on one of his live investigations, and he does the show Most Haunted here on the X. And unfortunately, we're out of time for this evening.
3 hours just marched right by on Halloween.
It sure did. I guess we're going to have to stretch it to 4 next year because we still don't get everything in we want to.
Well, you know, next year is going to be a much bigger production. I can predict a much bigger, much larger production, a lot more elements, a lot more live guests, and a lot more great information for all of you who stop by and take the time to hang out with us on the UnXplained Network.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start calling it that full time. I mentioned this a couple of times before. Also, I wanted to mention I had some notes over here. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter X.
Yes.
Go grab our bookmark us and grab us on your mobile apps, and also Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart, all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can find all of our shows that are broadcast exclusively out of our network there, and some that are no longer with us, but we are still presenting their archives on demand as well, that we're friends and fans of. And so run over to the UnX Network, UnXnetwork.com, and take a look at everything. All the links are there for all of the social media. Everything you need to find about what Margie and I and everybody over here are doing, you can find right there. And she's got even some new stuff she's going to be putting up on the website as well. New schedule, updated schedule, easier to follow, easier to read. We've got lots more shows coming. Margie, what else do we have to tell them before we run out of time here?
We've got a lot going on. Just stay tuned for more. Okay. And yeah, we've got a lot of new stuff coming in January. Starting January, we'll be announcing that pretty soon. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thank you for watching and listening to The X. And we'll see you next time.